This is Stories Untold. My name is Pule Molebatsi. Welcome to the show. Today we bring you the story of Tabiso, chairperson of the Igaheng community-based organization. Tabiso was raised in a child-headed home. Being an orphan meant that the privileges that come with having both living parents were also taken away until Igaheng intervened. Today, he is the one who is reaching out to boys and girls who are in a situation that he was once in as a child. Let's have a look at his story.
Enjoying a good chat and laughs with his older brother in his childhood home in Soweto, meet 29-year-old Tabiso Chauke. However, the picture you see in front of you hasn't always been the case. Left an orphan with his siblings, Tabiso's parents passed away when he was just a little boy.
I'm a twin of a female and two brothers. I lost my father in 2005, where he was brutally murdered. And his body was then taken into the bush, hidden there. We had to look for him for a period of 3 months, and only then, after 3 months, we found his body decomposed. The following year, then my mom also followed. She was then attacked by a stroke, which she didn't survive, and that's how we became orphans. I was around, 13, 14 there. Well, that affected me greatly, especially when obviously other children always have to talk about their parents, or other children have to talk about their father or mother. You knew that you could not relate to that because they had passed on, and that you had the responsibility. All of us at home, as the four of us, knew that individually we have a responsibility to be our own parents. So we could therefore not really relate to others.
The house eventually became a child-headed home as his older brother assumed the responsibility of a parent.
Being in a child-headed household that was led by my older brother, you fill the gap on a continuous basis, the absence of a mother and the absence of a father, the warmth of a mother and the warmth of a father. And now you are in a situation where now all of you are now your own parents. You have to go through everything else by your own and learn how difficult life can be without parents. Igaheng then came in as a helping hand, provided us with monthly food parcels, ensuring that we were able to go to school. The organization was founded by Mam Carol Janji in 2002, and seeing how orphans are being left behind by their parents because of their passing, who gets to be infected by HIV and AIDS. And it was primarily for that reason that she saw it fit to start the organization.
And he's now the current reigning chairperson and board member of the center.
I was recruited to join the board in 2017. So in 2015, I started an organization called 1 Million School Shoes Campaign. And for me, one of the reasons why I had started it before it became a bigger group that it is today, it was primarily to give back to Igaheng for what they have done for me, because I felt that they have truly contributed vastly to my development as a young man and as a leader in society. And I saw it fit that I must really also go and give a bit that I could, so that those who were once in my shoes, they could also have it better. So we donated about, I think it was around 400 pairs of school shoes to Ikageng, together with the colleagues that had joined me. And that's how then I think the board then realized that I could have a potential to contribute to Igaheng. And then in 2017, they asked me to come and join the board.
Consists of several programs. Education and healthcare are at the forefront, especially for orphan children and child-headed homes.
We also deal with HIV testing programs. We deal with substance abuse and drug abuse also. So those are different programs that we deal with. Of course, most importantly, is nutrition, because you realize that children who are often do not get the privilege of being able to eat on a daily basis like we do. So that is the most important part of our program. But I think the most important one is the fact that given the 607 beneficiaries who are infected by HIV and AIDS, ours as Igaheng is to ensure that they never miss their meals so that they are able to not default on their medication.
As Stories Untold documented the work that Tabiso and Ikageng do, we came across this group. Waiting their turn for counseling, these individuals are substance and drug addicts, but seek to change that narrative. Also seated amongst these men is 25-year-old Nikki Peterson.
I matriculated 2014. I wasn't a genius, but I was a hard worker. So when I passed school, and I had a bright future. That means it's so useless that I never thought things over. You understand? I'm not next. I'm not 7 months. I'm in January. I'm long until 2018 June. Pensa kanengena heroin. Before that, I was a crystal meth addict and mendrax, of which angiqalanga nalapho ngiqale before ngiqale kwayini nga-upgrade kancane njengoba sengizithola kuleli ekungekho easy. This drug is like no other drug. Ngiyangithola ngiwabhemile wonke, but le ingichache ukuhlezi ngibonisile ukuthi impilo yini. All the things bengithi I never mina ngizithole ngenza so, never ngizithole ngenza so, yize ngibhekane nazo.
Her lifestyle has caused a huge rift between her and her family.
So painful ukuthi mawuthi uyangena endlini ufihliwe amabag, ufihliwe amafoni, and in a way nanoma ungayenzi lento leyo, someone can do that in your name and kuzobelieve ukuthi yes, you did it. Yeah. So ne family yami ayisangithathi the way bengithatha ngakhona, ngiluze dignity, ngiluze respect, ngiluze everything. It makes me like ukuthi ngiphele umoya. Even now, it's my second time in rehab. I'm all alone. Anginasizo la muntu, but ngizolwela ukuthi ngize ngifike la ngifikelela khona.
Ufuna uzibona ukuphisisa?
Most importantly, ngizifisela nje impilo ne-success. Impilo nempumelelo yini ngidingayo kakhulu.
Ungathanda ukuthini kwifamily yakho malunga nalento ngale ndlela uzizwa ngayo? Ungathanda ukuthini sisi?
Ngathanda ukuthi firstly they know ukuthi ngubani, bangathi from ebuncaneni bami from birth. So angicela ukuthi babe a little bit patience yini. I know ukuthi trust it's not just ukuthi ngithole nanoma kanjani after sengiluze ngale ndlela. Kona ngimoshanga endlini, but abasangithathi the way bebangithatha ngakhona. Abangisangithathi njengabanye abantwana abasejardini. Akasekho umuntu onebelieve yini.
A second attempt at rehab, but this time she's adamant that she will overcome her addiction. When Tabiso was still a beneficiary of Igaheng, he was under the care of Desiree. He is now the chairperson of the center. With 1,800 homes that depend on their assistance, today we follow them as they visit one of the child-headed homes they assist. Maria stays in the shack with her 5 siblings and child. Now 28 years of age, but she became the head of this household at the age of 21.
Like makhona mama endlini ukuhoma. Awuna stress sokuthi kuyadliwa. Awuna stress izinto eziningi. So umama uyenza yonke into, cover yonke into makasendlini. So since umama angishile like kunzima ukuthi like abantwana ngizobayenza kanjani. Ngizophila kanjani nabantwana. Yabo. So angazi ukungaba nzima kakhulu.
Maria, ukukhulisa abantwana bakini because by 5 mosangithi nawe uyazikhulisa, ukhulisa ingane yakho ngapha. Lonto leyo ikuphatha njani sisi?
Yo, ingiphatha kabuhlungu, yazi ingizwisa ubuhlungu. Because sometimes like nginokufila ukukhala, ngifeel like angikahili, but nginokusitshela ukuthi ngihilile, ngi-right, but I'm not okay. Ukuthi nje ngiyaphila ngoba ngiyaphila emhlabeni. Izinto angeke uhlale uzigonile. I understand. Kuyo kabanzima ukukhulisa abantwana bakithi. Because like ngidrope off esikolweni because kumele ngilethe isinkwa, kumele ngisupport abantwana. Ngifocus ukuthi ngisupport abantwana. Angikhoni ukwenza izinto zami, like angikhoni ukwenza izinto ezenziwa yintanga zami. Because ngiba umama kule age engikuyo. So kuyo kabanzima kakhulu. Ukuphuma nabantomazane like nithi niyaphuma, maybe niyodla party nyana, angikhoni. Because mangiphuma fanele ngicabanga ukuthi leyo senti le enginayo fanele ngithenge isinkwa. Because angeke ngiphume no enjoy nama friends abantwana bakithi bangadlanga. So yiyo leyo nto leyo.
Ubaba wakho Maria ukuphi?
Mina baba mangimazi eduboni.
However, in the haze of her struggles, this is how Igaheng is helping ease the burden.
Ingisize ey'ntweni ey'ningi. Kokuqala basiphe ukudla, basiphe iy'mpahla for abantwana, banokukhipha abantwana ama-camp. So namanje bengisizile besiceda ukuyothatha amagazi for i-DNA because abantwana banama-birth certificate. Kumele ba-apply ama-birth certificate because nami kwazile ukungisiza ukuthi ngibe ne-ID. If bongasikiwe ngaba ngakabi ne-ID namanje. Bokuyinto important kakhulu because bangifuna imisebenzi eminingi beyifuna i-ID. So i-crash le ngisebenza kuyo yiye kwazile ukungithatha because according isimo sami yakwazi ukungibekezelela.
Phatha njani lo nto ukuthi bayakusiza? Kwenza uzizwe njani ukuthi kunabantu abakusizayo kule nto kuyo?
Ingiphatha kabuhlungu. I understand because akukhona ukuzimela wena uwe. Yabo? Ukwazi ukuyimela ukuthi ngiyakhona ukuyenza into engifuna ukuyenza ngesikhathi engifuna ukusenza. So that is why ingiphatha kabuhlungu. But yona ingisize kakhulu Igaheng ngalonanzo layo.
Ungathanda ukuzibona ukuphila empilweni?
Yo, mina empilweni ngifuna izinto eziningi. Like serious ukuthi nje isikole yisesingekho. So mara bengifuna izinto eziningi. Like ngifuna ukuzibona ngiphumile kule ndawo, nginendawo yami, nginendlu yami, nginabantwana bami, ngomntana bakithi phela. Because la kufana nokuthi sisesigangeni. And njengoba sisesigangeni ngangena abafana noma yini and singamantombazane phela. And akekho umuntu omdala.
Part of our assistance firstly would be e-visit that is done by a caregiver, and then it would be followed up by an intervention done by one of the social auxiliary workers. She would come into the household to manage issues of conflict, issues around the identification.
When you see certain children who are going through what you used to go through, could, for example, if they don't have proper school shoes, it pains you, but it gives a better understanding that you must also be able to extend a hand and that you must appreciate the fact that you are also contributing to a better next Tabiso, just as much as you are also assisted. So every time we have to do this work, it's a reminder that one was once in that situation and now it's better, and now it's time also to give back to those who are less fortunate.
For 14-year-old Sibonelo from Orlando West struggled with keloids, a medical condition that affected his life tremendously. A year ago, these were his years. It was Tabiso and his team who jumped in to restore his self-esteem.
One day, bugi after school, ngibuye esikoleni ngifaka amacici. So endleleni yokubuya ekhaya, like abanye abafana abayi2 bangistopa bangibuza ukuthi yini igama lamacici la ungacokile. Mina zange ngavuma ukuthi ngibabonise. Then bangiqhipsa amacici endlebeni. Baqeda kulapho ke qale ukudevelopa into engathi pimple emadlebeni nami. Bengicabanga ukuthi into ezovela isuke, but isikhathi masiya ngivela ngabona ukuthi iyakhula and iyanwaya. The more inwaya ngiyinwaya, the more idevelop.
Phathe njani lokho?
Ingiphathe kabi. Ngoba esikoleni sibaningi and bukimi engiyi1 enginayo, so ingihlukanisile kubo bonke abantwana. Ekukhuleni kwako kungi-affecte kakhulu ngoba bengihlezi ngicoki wood, ngifihlile ukuthi abanye abantu bangangiboni ukuthi ngidevelope something endlebeni yami. And then asesikoleni bengihlezi ngithulile nje ukuthi avoid ukuthi banganotice ukuthi khona into esendlebeni zami.
Scared of what he could not understand, he sought medical help.
Ngaye ku-local clinic ngiyo-inquire ukuthi kwenzakalani. So bangitshela ukuthi ngizodevelopa ama-keloids and only way ukuthi asuke is through surgery, and ayikho i-treatment abangayenza ukuthi a-decrease or asuke. So from there ngathatha incwadi ngaye eBhara nakhona bangitshela the same thing ukuthi kumele till i-27 saka April, which was next year. So ngama next year 27 saka April ngaye eBhara kwangena mangifike eBhara bangitshela ukuthi bona basathatha abantu and abasawenza ama-surgery unnecessary. So kumele ngime indaba zama corona ukuthi baze kube i-level 1 ukuze basincede sonke. Ingenze ngafeel disappointed ngoba ngimisikhathi eside ukuthi ngilapheke. Mase sengifika khona sebasho ukuthi angeke bakwazi ukunginceda. Inhliziyo yami ivele yaba buhlungu and ngavele ngalahla ithemba.
Ngingasalala nasebusuku ngikhala ubusuku wonke ngoba manje zimhlukumeza nokuthi manje eya esikolweni. Uma eya esikolweni abantwana bayamhleka. Akasazi ukuthi angisazi ukuthi ucabangani ngoba phela abantwana laba bayazibulala. Inkinga yami ibe yileyo enkulu.
Sibonelo's grandmother couldn't bear to watch her grandson in pain, so she sought help.
Usibonelo asuka lapha ngacabanga ngathi angazi ngenzeni manje eBhara bayamjikisa lo mntwana. So angazi ngenze njani. Uyabona? Ngcono ngike ngifonele lapha eGaheng ngifonele u-social worker. U-social worker athi mthumele manje. Nempela umntwana ngimthumele. Uma ngimthumela laphana u-social worker ngathi abhala incwadi ayiBhara. Athi khona umuntu azohlangana naye eBhara. Mayefika eBhara bamjikise bathi ayikho into enjalo. Buyele ekhaya. Nempela buyele ekhaya umntwana ngaleso sikhathi akazenze. Lezi zinto zikhula every day. Asuke lapho ke afike lapha eGaheng. Ungathi ke atholane noThabiso. Ngathi uThabiso ocela umntwana ukuthi bamenzele ngazi ufake kuphi ma Facebook or lezi zinto zabo zefoni. UDr Qhamuka athi uDr mletheni la umntwana. Singiyamzwela ngoba manje ubhalisa istory esibhlungu ukuthi akasa concentrate nasesikoleni.
Let's have a look. You stand up. What actually broke my heart about his story was that his granny was so concerned because they see their kids, when they come home, because the granny is acting like his parent, and it was affecting him socially. When I met Sibonela, he walked in here with his hoodie on. He was very shy, almost didn't chat to me, just out of shyness. And I just thought it's so sad to have this young, gorgeous, clever young man hiding behind his hoodie all day. So as Sibonela came in, I'd seen his photos before of these massive keloids he had on his ears. And he's such a, a gorgeous young man, but it really stood out and it looked quite bizarre. And he was getting teased. So all he did was just hide under his hoodie and cover them, which I thought was just devastating. He didn't feel unwell. It was all just aesthetic and self-esteem.
Nempela bamthathe umntwana lo bamhambise bamse ku doctor bamhambise nabo abo lo mabafika u doctor afike khona benze appointment afika u doctor amsiki umntwana izinto zoyi2 babuye ke la bathi hayi badlale ngami bathi hayi gogo hayi kwathini hayi bahlalele ngempela umntwana angena mayengena azisekho ngizangijabule kanje ngajabula ngaze ngakhala
basho gogo
hey ngaze ngibona into enje.
Resolute to relieve the pressure and despair faced by the community of Orlando West, Tabiso and the rest of the board members at Igaheng do not get paid for the work they do.
If there's anything that fulfills me, apart from the official work that I do on a daily basis, what I do at Igaheng fulfills me because I know that I'm making a difference. I think if there's one thing that I truly enjoy, is being able to give to others, is being able to make a difference. And when I'm able to make a difference, that's one thing that truly makes me happy. And I do it without, without any remuneration, because I know that, it comes from the heart and it's pure. So we've got the 2 caregivers, and their responsibility is to ensure that they visit our beneficiaries, to make sure that they are adhering to their medication, to make sure that they've got food, to make sure that they are doing their schoolwork and they're progressing on that. And of course, that is being led by our social auxiliary workers who oversee the work that caregivers do. So caregivers, when I think of them, I think of a caregiver that was designated to myself and my family, my siblings, when we were still beneficiaries. And we knew that someone would always come and check on us. And that really meant a lot, because we knew that somebody somewhere cares. And they would come and make sure that we've got food, that food parcels are being given to us. We've got toiletries, some of the things that we may take for granted, but very important, because I have a twin sister, and things like sanitary towels are things that not so easy for those who are less privileged to access. And Igaheng would make sure that such things are being provided for. The center is funded by different donors. We've got government, the Department of Social Development, which also provides food parcels. Of course, they fund us financially, and then the organization then would purchase food parcels. But the department is also responsible for paying some of our employees.
And as someone who knows the pain that comes with being an orphan, he imparts these words.
This life journey is one difficult one. It's difficult more so when you lose parents, because those are the people whose shoulders you stand on, especially when things get tougher. And I want to remind them that it is just temporary. God always put us through certain challenges. And sometimes we ask ourselves, why me? But he always has better plans for us. And even though today we may not understand why is it that I've lost my parents, but as time goes by, you get to understand that God had a plan, and that plan was far greater than what you are going through today.
Today's story is proof that nothing in life is permanent. Tough times don't last, but tough people definitely do. So if you are in any challenging situation, all you have to do is reach out. There is always someone who's willing to provide aid. From watching us here on Stories Untold, reporting from the Ikageng Community Center, it's a goodbye.